Thank you very much. I've actually made some notes here, but I'm not normally very good at sticking to the notes, so we'll see how long I succeed with that. I'd like to thank the FWA and its new chairman, my friend Paddy Barkley, for inviting me here tonight to speak and to pay my tribute to Wayne. It's a particularly fitting evening, I think, because I don't know whether you're that clever that you can organise it that he scores his 250th goal for Man United on the day before he's due to be honoured by your association. But if you have done that, then my congratulations. And what I intended to do tonight, really, I mean, I'll leave the anecdotes and the funny stories to Darren, who's going to be speaking after me, and I'm sure that he'll have lots of things to tell you about Wayne and their time together. I'll stick, if you don't mind, to a more serious element, and I'd like to talk about Wayne Rooney, the man that I met and worked with for 4 years, and even before working with him, had enormous respect and admiration for him. But after working with him for 4 years, of course, my respect and admiration has grown. I'm not going to talk about all his records, because they'll be mentioned later on tonight, and what's more, there are probably far too many to cover. I know one thing: at the age of 31, there's a lot more records to come, so I don't know how many records he's broken so far, but I'll be very surprised if by the time he does decide to stop playing, he hasn't won even more. However, knowing Wayne as I do, I don't know when that day when he stops playing will be. I think it will be way, way into the future, and I just hope I'll still be alive when he decides to do that. So I'd just like to talk about the man that I got to know, and I didn't know what to expect from Wayne Rooney, a person, of course, that I'd followed as a Premier League coach and as a coach abroad. When I went to meet him for the first time when I was still working for West Brom, it had already been decided that I would join the Football Association and become the New England manager, but I had to finish off the season with West Brom. There was 2 more games, and I wanted to obviously meet some of the important players who I was going to be working with in the Euros, and would have had very little time to prepare for that working with them. So I set up a meeting thanks to Paul Stretford, and I met Wayne, and I didn't know quite what I was going to be meeting. You know, I knew I was meeting obviously a superstar, a person who'd achieved everything already there was to achieve in English football, and already someone with 80-odd caps for England. But I was really surprised to meet a man that was so humble, and what's more, was so anxious to play football and to play football for England. And that was a great moment for me, if you like, in my early time with the Football Association, and of course one that I was able to profit from for the next 4 years. But just let me talk about some of the qualities, because I think that in football there's no doubt, and I'm preaching to the converted here, because you've been writing and talking about football players for many years. We all know that you're never going to become a top player in any sport, let alone football, which is our national sport, unless you've got talent. You've got to have ability. You've got to have some qualities. So let's leave all of those to one side. I'm not going to talk about Wayne's striking ability, his intelligence in the game, his work rate. I'm not going to talk about all those things that are the football-oriented ones. I'm going to try and talk about a few other qualities that I think I got to know during the 4 years where we worked quite closely together. And the first one's are human qualities. And number one is family man. You know, I'm not just saying that because Colin's here tonight. I'm not saying that because I know they've just come from a birthday party for their 1-year-old child kid. I say it because I spent some time with them in Chantilly when we were together, and I saw Wayne together with his family. I saw how much the family means to him. I saw how much time he lays down for his family and how they work together. And that's not something which is always a quality that people at the top level of sport show. The second one I want to mention is generosity. And I'm not just talking about money now, because he's very generous with money. You just read about the charity, about his testimonial where he gave up the money to charity and raised 1.5 million. And I believe they're going to raise up to 5 million by the end of the year for charity. That will go largely unnoticed. That's not the type of thing which unfortunately blazes out the headlines and sells newspapers. But I'm talking about his generosity of spirit, his generosity with other people. I've never seen Wayne refuse an autograph. When I came in here tonight, the first thing Paul McCarthy said was, please don't come to the top table, because Wayne Rooney is going to go around to each table and have photographs and autographs taken with every table. Now, that's hard work, That's an incredible generosity. And I've already mentioned his humility, because the second meeting at Paul Stretford's was 2 years later, when we decided, I and my coaching staff, that the next captain after Stephen Gerrard, who'd done a fantastic job, and Wayne will tell you how they were very close together, and we wanted to give the job to Wayne. Now, you would have thought, well, that's not great news, you know. He's not going to be that surprised. He's not going to be, you know, jumping for joy when you tell him, listen, Wayne, I just want to let you know, you're going to be the captain of England for the next 2 years with me as manager. But the look on his face that day, the joy, the pleasure, the pride that radiated from the man was something which stuck with me. And in fact, talking the other day to Ray Lewington, you know, he mentioned the same thing. So they're the human qualities. So let me go to some footballing qualities, shall I? If you don't know them already. Even if you do know them already, they might be well worth repeating. The first is a passion and a love for the game, which is second to none. Wayne Rooney plays football. Never misses a training session. Impossible almost to rest from games. Impossible to get him to skip a training session because he might be suffering from a slight knock. He wants to be on that field. He wants to play football. And it wouldn't surprise me sometimes if after a training session with England, if there had been a game with the under-21s or some work with the under-21s in the afternoon, Wayne would have been the first person to put his boots on and go out and play. Now, we're talking about somebody here who's won everything there is to win. We're talking about somebody here who's not just reached the top of his profession, he's almost gone beyond the top of his profession. So that type of passion and love for the game, that's something you see very rarely. I've been working in football a long time, but I've not encountered that passion and love for the game that often. Secondly, two qualities which I think are vitally important in anybody who wants to be involved in sport. But if you're talking about working with a football player, these two qualities for me have an even stronger resonance. It's energy and enthusiasm. And Wayne's energy and enthusiasm at 31 is incredible. Now, whether it was even greater at the age of 17 when he started or 16 when he made his debut, I don't know. But I would doubt it in some respects. I don't know that you can get much more energetic and enthusiastic about playing football. They're great qualities. Thirdly, loyalty. In my 4 years with the national team, his loyalty was second to none. Everything that we asked of him, everything we wanted from him, any help we wanted from him, it was always there. Did he ever miss a call-up? Never. Did he ever come to me and suggest, it's a tough time, I've been going through a tough period, I've had injuries, I'm a little bit weary, maybe I need to miss this game? Never once. 56 games. He was there every single one of them. The only ones he wasn't there for were the ones when he was injured. Loyalty to Manchester United, well, we got the Manchester United table over here. It's not my job to talk about that, but I think you all know that although he started with Everton, that longevity of a career at Man United and now breaking Bobby Charlton's record, that's something which is also a great sign of his loyalty. I want to talk about his resilience and his endurance, because this is a man who hasn't had it easy all the way. He's not even had it easy with you guys all the way either. He's been knocked down plenty of times. For every word of praise, there's been an echoing word of criticism, and yet there he is still. There he is still on Saturday, coming onto the field and scoring the vital goal which keeps Man United's unbeaten run going, and what's more, keeps them in contention for Champions League place. And the final thing I'll talk about is leadership, because that was a question I know. There were criticisms there. Will Wayne Rooney be the leader that England needs? Well, I'm telling you he was. Because what this man did was, he took the job unbelievably seriously. He made certain that when any new players came into the team, the first person to go and welcome them, to talk to them, to encourage them was Wayne Rooney. We had a very young team going into 2016. A lot of young players, very talented players, players who I think will go on to do wonderful things for the country. But they were young. It was the first tournament for many of them. Who was the person there by their side, talking to them, making certain they were comfortable with everything that was going on? It was Wayne Rooney. We wanted to make lots of changes. We wanted to give players more responsibility. We wanted unit meetings. We wanted players to take responsibility. We had to sell this to the players. He helped us sell it to the players. As one of the few senior players we had, he was one of the people who said, I think that's a good idea. I believe in that. I'll do that. I'll help you. So really and truly, all these things, I think, have resulted in a very wise choice from you here tonight to pay this tribute to Wayne Rooney. I apologise if my speech has been a little bit formal and hasn't had everyone sort of bursting with laughter every other opportunity. But the fact is, I thought it was perhaps important sometimes to say a few things about the man I know and the player I know that aren't always said. The myths abound, but I hope that at least I've had the opportunity tonight to say my few words on the subject and to make it clear what I think of the man Wayne Rooney, the football player Wayne Rooney, and I'm really delighted to have paid this tribute to him tonight, and I thank the Football Writers Association for organising this event. And now I'd like you to raise your glasses. Oh, thank you very much, just to say. Because as you may have noticed, I haven't been drinking, and I don't intend to start now either. It's too late. But if I could ask you to stand, please, and raise your glasses. And the toast is to the Football Writers Association. Thank you very much.